Welcome to Transform, Ignite, Disrupt, bringing you interviews and insights covering proven practical strategies to unlock your company's innovation potential. Here's your host, Stephen L. Blue.
Mike Lindell.
Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Real good, really good. Busy.
But hey, I'm not going to say that I see you on TV all the time because you're probably sick of hearing that.
Yeah, it's been a lot lately. Yeah.
But I do.
Well, it's only
Fox News.
It's only going to get more with the kind of book coming out and a lot of stuff going on. We're going to triple again here coming up.
Are you really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
The whole story's incredible. Of course, you probably already know that.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal to me.
Wow. I bet. And you're up in Chaska?
Yep. My corporate is in Chaska, my call center. That's where I'm sitting right now.
We're down the southern most part of the state, almost on the Wisconsin line, right by the river, Winona, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. I've done shows there before. Back in the day when I did, craft shows and home shows. We did it with Winona. I don't know what the event was, but we've done it a couple different times.
Yeah, and I've got a manufacturing company here that makes products for the railroad industry. We sell them in 100 countries. Oh,
wow.
So what I try to give my readers is a glimpse into how a guy like you thinks. You think differently than the garden variety CEO, and
right.
So that's sort of what I'm going to try to get at in the course of the interview. It's nothing structured. I don't have a bunch of questions written down. I have some things that I'd like to find out about, but one of them for sure is, if I have my facts correctly, this infomercial the first infomercial you did was a $500,000 bill. Is that right?
Yeah, the first infomercial, I'll just give you a little bit background on that. It was the spring of 2011, and I had always had my dream of doing a real infomercial because I had done little home shows and little fairs, like I told you, like in Winona there. And I thought, well, why can't I just bring this to the TV, something that's real, a real audience and a real myself doing it, because it resonated so good with the people at the shows because I'm selling with passion and real. And so I told all my friends and family, I said, if we pool our money, and I think it was like $350,000, I said, well, we're going to, I gave them all part of the infomercial. And that's the one where we went. That was a half-hour long form. And everybody told us it's not going to work. You need a movie star. You need all this stuff, and you don't make money on the front end of infomercials, and it'll fail. No infomercials make it. But when we did it, we went from 5 employees to 540 days.
Jesus Christ, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was the most bizarre. It was just huge, and we took in $100 million over the next 6 months.
Oh my God!
They were told, but we were in the hole at the end of the 6 months. That's another part of the story. We had the companies take advantage of all the stuff I had to go into planning for that infomercial. All the infrastructure and the raw materials and everything was just because I didn't have a bank and I didn't have any money. Was to convince everybody that we were going to do that kind of growth and right out of the gate. Nobody would believe me, and it was just all passion. Telling them, no, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And we were the number one infomercial in the world by the end of December of 2011. And we were hiring people. We worked out of a little garage in Carver. We ended up expanding the building. I built my own call center in 4 days. And people said, "Well, Mike, you got to be CEO." And I said, "Why do I want to be CEO? Don't they just take the money?" I didn't know what a corporate structure was. And we need an HR department, and we need a corporate lawyer. I said, "Why?" I've been my adversity, and everybody that had tried to take my company over the previous 7 years, my trust factor was so far down that I didn't want anybody. I wanted to do it all myself, and we do it ourselves, and without any outside help. And that's why every part of MyPillow is still to this day done in-house.
That's great. I tell you what, I don't like HR and corporate lawyers either.
Yeah, I don't have it right now. I set up. It's called the Lindell Foundation. We help our employees we do have an outside, payroll company. When they, if we do have an HR issue, we bring it to them. But we take such good care of all of our employees. If they don't show up, if they're a no-call, no-show, what I do is I go back to when I worked a long time ago when I worked for someone. What would I want my employer to be like, and what didn't I like about them? And if someone's a no-call, no-show and now on MyPillow or something's happened, we get them help. We get them help, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whether it's they needed a car where you couldn't get to work in time. We help them through in every facet of their lives. I have counseling on site where I brought in counselors to help them. And guess what? Our HR department went from our problems went from A to Z in reverse. We hardly have any problems with typical HR problems. To me, they created the problems. HR, you set up a file on someone. Oh, we're going to keep this in your file so that we can fire you and not pay unemployment. You're setting them up to fail. In the corporate world, what I never liked about it was you're setting people up to fail, or you're setting them up for when they do fail, or when you need to get rid of them for some bottom line that I've never believed in. To hurt the employees for the bottom line, and it's been amazing here at MyPillow using that since we got rid of the HR department on site. Well,
I couldn't agree with that decision more. And what I've always said is put people first, and profits will follow.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's 100% right.
And the other thing that I always say is put families first, and profit will follow. So I think our philosophies about this are very similar. Building the right kind of culture is everything. Right. Yep.
In MyPillow, it's everybody. It's the passion of caring about even my own custody. I have 700 some employees now, but every one of them has the passion. Just goes all the way down the line. And we, like with my call center, if you call and you have a problem with your pillow, everybody knows. Like with me, I treat every leg of my company, whether it's a little show in Dubuque, Iowa, or it's a one customer that that'll be at one of our kiosks in Denver, Colorado. I just took the call the other day because she had this problem, and I took the call personally. But I view each one of them like it's my only business. Like each show, each airing on TV, each whether it's radio, print, whatever it is, that's the only part of my business. And then having that philosophy of caring about the customer as an individual customer. And my people all know that I would rather not take 100 new orders if one person's dissatisfied or upset with MyPillow in any way. And by that philosophy, if you go back, I don't know how old you are, you go back to time there was an old commercial, and they tell two people and they tell two friends and so on and so on. I think it was a shampoo commercial back in the 70s or 80s. Well, nowadays it's they tell 5 people, they tell 5,000 people, and they tell 50,000 people because of social media. And viral. MyPillow and myself was built for that. It's like a big plug-in because we care so much about, I didn't just do my product, run some infomercial time and to get in the box stores, and then it's fly by night, and you figure, 20% of people are going to return it, and 60% and all this. I wanted 100% of people to like it, 100% of people to be taken care of, and if it doesn't go to the box stores, I don't care. Because I figure if you help the people, if you get them fit right, they tell 2 people, they tell 20 people, they tell 200 people, and the money takes care of itself. Obviously, it's working. Box stores will just screw you right down to there's nothing left in profit. Right, and I do have some boxer. What happened in 2012? We had taken all that money, and I woke up and I've never used a bank. I don't use it. It's all been myself. Like, when I ran out of money, when I first invented the pillow, I was dead broke, mortgaged my house, and it's all been, myself just kind of rolling money as you gain money, and then trying to get financing or having the vendors believe in you and stuff like that. You go back to the infomercial
maybe bet is too strong of a word, Mike, but and you said you have passion. That's clear. I mean, you're a great pitch man. You can see, it comes through when you're on TV. That was a big bet. How did you know you were making the right bet? Was it guts? Was it data driven? Was it a combination of both?
With the infomercial, what kept me going for 7 years when I was doing these home shows and county fairs, because I was turned down at box stores everywhere. I was turned down by QVC a couple of times. Everywhere I went, I was turned down when I invented MyPillow, and so I brought it right to the people at at these shows, and I learned so much at these shows by what not only the positive feedback, so that kept me going, but I thought, to bring this infomercial, to bring a real one, and how did I know I had the right one? When I watched that, when we went to film this in St. Paul, we did it in one day, and I wanted it to be something the public doesn't get anymore. It's a throwback to even our logo is the 1970s. Back where your handshake was your word, and trust in, where people still trusted, had trust. And I figure so many of these infomercials, you don't trust them, and quite frankly, they're not good products. And so I had to get around that, and I thought the way to do it, I did it for my own thing. I looked at everything from the customer's point of view. And when I watch, what don't I like about these infomercials? Well, number one, they're all lying. It just seemed like, it's all about their money. It's all about money. And my perception was, I want to help. My passion's always been to help people. And if you help people, then the money will follow. Well, because, so I had a real audience, just a friend of mine. And the night before, I could go through. There was, everyone told me, you're not going to, like I said before, you need a movie star. You need this. You need someone to write your script. Well, the night before this production, people that were there, they did have somewhat of a script, and they started reading. They said, you can't script this guy. And I had one line to read in that infomercial, and I couldn't even, there was like 20 takes. It was a joke. It was like, I couldn't, it was horrible. If you ever look up MyPillow bloopers, I said it took me, I think, 11 takes to say one sentence line, and then we just started in, and I was petrified. I had never been in front of people before, but if you've ever seen that half-hour commercial, we did it. And then it launched October 7th of the Discovery Channel in the middle of the night on October 7th, 2011. When I seen that, I knew that the passion was there, and it was even watching myself. I just knew it was amazing. And
you went off script, right? You didn't have a script.
But there was no script. There was no teleprompter. I didn't know who we were going to call on in the audience. We just did it, it was, like I say, it became the #1 infomercial in the world in a very short period of time. We went from 5 employees to 500. Now since that time, we had all that success because of the passion behind it, because it was real. People can see through that passion. And what I did then is two things have happened just in the last 3-4 years. In summer of 2014, I've been on the Imus show. Don Imus when I fit him for MyPillow, and he started talking about it on the radio. You know Imus, right?
Oh, sure.
Imus on TV and radio, and the pillow changed his life. Literally changed his life. So now he's starting doing these endorsements or reads on radio and TV, and he had me on as a guest 5 times, which he's never done before in history. Well, the sales just skyrocketed because once again it was people telling his own passion, not people can see through that just doing a read that's something product either, and he might even believe in a product, but there was so much passion behind it that it took it over the top. You follow me? And so I ran all my advertising, even my print ad I did way back in the day. It's a guy holding a pillow some geek holding a pillow in his hand, and there's no price or nothing. It just tells us a problem I had and a solution to that problem. And that's what I did. I put that print in because it was real. I wanted to, just tell people like it was, and everybody got it. I didn't have a beautiful lady laying on a box or laying on a bed, and it was just myself, and that kind of advertising, honest has worked, and passion, and now with the 1 and 2 minute commercial that I came out with that you're seeing that I came out this fall. I told that this last summer, I told my whole company, I said, we're going to go up 6-fold this fall. And I said, because I knew that the 1 and 2 minute, I wanted to make a series of like 6 or 7 of them. And I wanted to do what I had always, we had never, I wanted to do it. We did it, ourselves. We have 3 people, or my company going back and forth, we should put this in it. We should put this in it. And well, you've seen them. I mean, those were real testimonial people. That's me just telling it like it is. And now we've got some accolades there. We've got the official pill of the National Sleep Foundation, the Made in America. But one of the things is we're so passionate that it works. Well, now it's people feel like they know me, even though it's only a 2 minute commercial. I mean, I get it all the time, and they know my Christianity. They know my that I'm, the honest, they feel like they know everything about me. It just works. And it's just, and I've had to do the same thing too. When I had to go to this kind of growth this fall to a $350 million company, up 7-fold. And we did it in about a week, once the sales, then we just opened up the valves, all these valves. Well, I had to do a lot of planning for that. We had to get other buildings. We had to get, imagine the raw materials that here in the United States to get everything set up. So I had to go to these guys and go, here's what's going to happen. I need this, and this. And because they're buying, but this time around, not like 2012, they're giving us, the right price and they're believing my projection.
Now, when this happened, did you expect this growth, Mike? Were you planning on this, or were you surprised by it?
You mean this last big spurt when we went up 6-fold? No, I knew it was going to happen.
The infomercial when you went from 4 to 500 employees. Were you expecting that?
Oh yeah, I had actually talked to. This was kind of a funny story. I went to New York, where I get their corporate office, where I get my fabric. That was the summer of 2011, and I walked in there, and I was, afraid of people in suits. I mean, I was just a little entrepreneur, and I get in there, and they had all these C's. They had their CFO and all these other people, and I needed to, in order for them to get on board, I was telling them, here's a $500,000 company that's going to go to $100 million, and then we're going to do it in 1 week, to be at that level. So I'm planning this in the June of 2011, planning on this home run and the history of the United States for infomercials. That's what it would have to be in order for my projections to be correct. And I walked in there. Well, that particular day, the entrepreneur, the guy that owns the company, it's privately held, and he walks into that office, and that same day my print ad had come out in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, and he had them both in his hand to somewhat give me some credibility, and he sits down, and the CFO, I tell him my big plan. I said, here's what I'm going to do, and I did it with basically a napkin, a piece of paper, and I said, here's what I'm going to do, and I said, I'm going to do this infomercial. We're going to film this. It's going to do this much. Well, these guys would have to order millions of dollars worth of gray goods that they, it would tie up their company. And here their CFO guy goes, yeah, he goes, you have no credit, and I said, we've never done a credit report because from my past, I had bad credit. I had a bankruptcy, for my other entrepreneurial things. Well, so there was no credit there. So these guys basically, the CEO, he looks at me, he says, He says, do you really think you can do that? And I said, absolutely, 100% I can do it. There was no maybe, there was no nothing. It was just all my passion of how this infomercial is going to be the biggest ever. And he turns to me and says, order the gray goods. And there was pushback, and he turned to me again. And he said, you think you can really do that? And I go, absolutely, I can do it. He turned back to him and said, order the gray goods. And that same guy I had to go to this summer, because now we're going up sevenfold from 50 million to 350 million, and we're going to do it in about a week's time, and it's going to sustain that level. And I went to him now, so now those numbers are up sevenfold or fourfold. And all he said to me, it was about a 5-minute meeting in New York City. All he said to me, he goes, well, Mike, you've never been wrong on your projections. And this wasn't a big PowerPoint thing. This was just an entrepreneurial dream. You know what I mean? And wow. So it's been, but there was this time around I was very prepared with my indirect costs and direct costs, not like 2012 where I had never, you can't even fathom. I wanted to just keep everybody employed, just keep buying more media. We had no way to track the media, so we could be buying bad media. We had people, raw material, people that took advantage of us, and even shipping companies took advantage of us. And this time around, MyPillow, all that stuff that happened in 2012 not only got us noticed out there with like QVC, who we got product concept of the year, and all the box stores, but this time around I can be very choosy who I'm going to take, what I'm going to do. I told them what they're going to pay, so it's like everything in 2012 set it up for here. I learned so much, and now on a $100 bill, we might be making $20-$25, where before we were losing money.
Yeah. I want to go back to this belief and passion part of it for just a minute, because I think it's important for people that would read this to understand. I'm assuming when you were pitching that supplier for the gray goods, that you didn't have mounds and mounds of data, marketing projections. Here's the number of people in the United States that have pillows. Here's the reply. I'm guessing you didn't have a lot of that. You were going basically on just your belief of what would happen. Is that? Am I reading that right?
It was 100% belief. I had no computer from. I actually asked him for a piece of paper and showed him on a piece of paper how much we were going to do per month, and I had nothing to back it up. Nothing. Zero. All I had was my passion. Period. The only thing I had was projections of what I was going to do, and I had nothing to base it on. Not one single thing. Nothing. Zero. And I also had, it's funny because I had after 2012 or in like 14 or 2014, I had, when I knew we were going to have this other growth because of the radio project or now we take and we go to people, we go to like radio hosts, like let's say Hannity. We don't even take on a radio unless I can get the host fitted for the pillow. And like I'm using Hannity because that's everybody knows who he is. But like Hannity, or like I just met John Tesh in California this last week. He's another one that's coming on. But like Hannity, when Hannity came on, I had to fit him and his family for pillows and make sure they had the right size, make sure it was over the top amazing, and for them. And now when he does his reads, it comes out passion. You can't hide passion for and Hannity, when his read came out, he was actually reading it off a piece of paper, and it said, we spend a third of our life sleeping. Somebody had given the read, and I said no. I called up and we hit a number that was like this, let's say $3,000 for that day, and we needed to hit 24,000 to get our number, and it was like $3,000. Well, I got the report, said there's something wrong. Well, he was reading it off this, somebody had given him this script to read. I said, no, he needs to do it from the heart and tell about his personal things. So Hannity got on there and goes, just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. And then he goes, I could never get to sleep right away, and I work short hours. It has to be good sleep. Then I met Mike Lindell at MyPillow, and he personally fit me for my own MyPillow. And now I get to sleep right away every night, whatever his personal experience was. All the accolades that you could wash and dry it, Made in America, official pill of the National Sleep Foundation, 10-year warranty. That stuff doesn't mean anything to people unless it works. And so he did that beginning part. And we hit $24,000 that day, and we're coming up next week is 1 year with Hannity. That's just one radio station, and we hit that number every day because he tells it from his heart. So I don't brand to spend money on branding. I never believed in branding because I didn't have money to brand. I didn't have money. I didn't have money to go borrow MyPillow and buy ads in newspapers for $20,000. I didn't have 20 cents, and I had to make money off the front end of that and just convince people right there that this is going to help them, which it does. And whether it's print, radio, or TV, you don't just. It's just what I learned at those shows. Is I'm not just going to put a sign out there. There's so much people who come to me like, put a sign at like the Minnesota Twins when I did that. That was one of the first times ever where the Twins actually got to know what their products were worth. Let's say you got a banner behind home plate, you know what I mean? And someone puts Subway. So they put Subway up there. I asked the Twins, I said, how do you know what to charge for that? There's no way Subway can track that. They spend X amount on their branding and their marketing, and it goes into their budget, and they just assume it's going to bring back this many dollars on the bottom line eventually, And he goes, Mike, we really don't. Well, now I do. This year, now I could tell them, and they weren't too far off. I was pretty amazed at where they landed. You know what I mean? For each banner, you know what I mean? For like what a seventh inning pop up. What a read says during the game. MyPillow, because of what I've set up for our promo codes and the way I set up my call center, I can tell you what every single newspaper, every single TV station, every single radio station, what if they're overpriced or underpriced on their what their ad costs. You follow me? Because I know exactly what it takes in per dollar and down to the penny. So it's been pretty amazing that way. We've kind of set up, something where we can go right to the consumer.
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, Mike, I don't want to take any more of your time because you've been very gracious in giving me the half hour that you have already. Is there anything I should have asked you about that you'd like my readers to know that I didn't?
Well, I don't know if you know the quick thing on the story with MyPillow. I think for any entrepreneur. I mean, is this more like CEO or an entrepreneur? What's your take?
It's both. I've had people in this column that run billion-dollar companies and guys that are in startups.
Oh, what for me, and as you know, I don't know if you're, you being a CEO, I don't know if you're also if it's a product. Is it a product company you're doing a product that you?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me. I invented MyPillow. It took 2 years, and it was basically out of my own necessity at first, and to solve a problem and the problem solution. But then it was, being turned down. That passion kept me going, but then all the problems facing an entrepreneur nowadays, especially with a product that you're going to get swallowed up by big companies and the product taken and well, you know that. I mean, products just get copied and stole and everything else. And so we've been very blessed to get through that. But for me, it's been very, very interesting. I'm just to the point now because I am going to triple again in the next year. And to do this now, we're actually planning for that now. But we've been like the bad news bears of, it's a bunch of people like me, and that passion, each one of them has the same passion. They're so loyal. I would take them over any college graduate, corporate, you know what I mean? We don't, in MyPillow, we're not very corporate. Okay. We're, I would say, we're probably in a very much an anomaly out there where people go, well, who's your CFO? We don't have one. We don't have a CMO. We do all of our own marketing. We do all, like I say, it's been a bunch of people like me that they're very loyal and they want to help people and help, it's been amazing. But now we are going to, bring in more, because it's always kind of come from within, and we've got, we are going to kind of go out so we don't have, because I'm going to be doing, a lot more public appearances and stuff, so I can't be hands-on so much, and so to get some horizontal help, so to speak, where you're kind of bringing in people equal or under you, so that we can just kind of do. Yeah, to transition a little bit, because you get to $1 billion a year company, you need a little bit of corporate structure, maybe.
If you get too much of it, that's not a good thing either. But
no, absolutely not, and that's what I got to avoid. My challenge right now is to take. I've got maybe 12 people that have won the World Series of all time. You know what I mean? We've done something that I don't believe too many companies have ever done, going from 5 employees to 500 in 40 days, and never missed a beat with our production or anything. And we've had to do that twice now. We did it this fall too, going up 7-fold in 1 week. That's incredible,
Unbelievable.
And then to take that $350 million, and now I'm telling them, because I've seen it with my book coming out and the stuff that's going to happen. I just it's almost like I get a sixth sense where we're going to be at $1 billion next year. Well, to get there, I got to tell my bad news bears, we need some more help, but I don't want to leave anybody on the bench. You know what I mean? They've done the impossible, but I don't want them killing themselves either, working 80, 100 hours a week where you're living, where you can't go home and shut the door and have your own life,
Yep.
The
way I love your music and your ads.
Oh, that jingle?
Sleep. The whole wide world, I love it.
Yeah. And do you know what? And here's, that's another thing too. If you look at MyPillow, like I say, when I used to have my bars, and I would play music from people's childhood to go back to a time. It's like the Bob Seger song, "Wish I Didn't Know Now What I Didn't Know Then." A simpler period of time where and that jingle when we grew up. I don't know how old are you?
64.
Yeah, I'm 54. So this jingle, it takes you back into our 70s, our childhood, where it was a happier, where you felt secure. And even my MyPillow font, there's a reason people have given me a hard time. You look at my Twitter, they go, you got 1970 jingles and font that looks like something you got in your childhood. Exactly. I did that for a reason, people that my audience is, people 40 years and older anyway, once again, it goes to what I like to see and what resonates with me, and that's what's worked with our marketing.
That's great. Well, listen, I want to thank you again, Mike, and come down anytime.
Oh, absolutely. I will for sure. I'll take you up on that. It'd be great.
We'll look forward to seeing you, Mike. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Take care.
You've been listening to Transform, Ignite, Disrupt. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit StephenLBlue.com.